Yeah, how's everybody as far as availability, practice, and everything, especially Nico, since he
We
wasn't.
didn't practice today, so we'll evaluate Nico better tomorrow. But today we just watched film, just walked through some sets. We didn't do anything live.
He didn't make the trip to Golden State. I don't believe it. Was that just out of precaution? Like, was he never going to play those games?
No, he was hurt. Yeah,
But it
so
wasn't like a day-to-day type thing where he could have had a chance to play in those games?
no,
You have a concern that it might lead into the playoffs at all?
I don't know.
Having been such a large part of Zoo's journey over the last few years, what's it like to see him get such buzz? I mean, external buzz, but internally you can tell that teams are game planning for him differently. Like, what's it like to watch him rise into this new echelon?
I don't really like it because he talks a lot of stuff to me now, but it's great for him. Just showing you his maturity, showing his hard work, and how it's paid off. Just working on different things, and James was talking to him, Harden was talking to him about. Last year he was terrible in the double teams, but this year Jay Larranaga, like I said, Larry Drew just really helping him take his time, passing the ball to the right person, getting our spacing right, and he's been great. I think he's fourth in the league out of players getting double teamed, making the right play and making the right pass, and so just incorporating that, just getting better, and I'm happy for him.
Coach, what are the advantages, disadvantages of, you haven't seen the Nuggets since, January 8th?
The playoffs is different, so no advantages during the season or, after the season. Just, for us, our mindset's got to be, we know we got to take away from this team because they're dangerous in transition. We can't allow them to have 36 points in transition like they did in Game 3. We can't turn the ball over and things like that. So we know what we got to do, and if we capitalize on that, we should be in good shape.
Tommy, what are the challenges of preparing for a team that a week ago changed their head coach and going into a playoff series against them?
It's challenges every time you step into the floor in the playoffs, but Coach Malone, you know how he ran stuff and how he did things, and it's gonna be a little different. Just kind of see, what they run, the sets they run, rotations, and if they do anything different. So we'll see, but I'm not quite sure.
And I know it's been 5 years since you guys last saw them in the playoffs. You were on the bench for that, and so was David Adelman. Is there anything I know it's been 5 years, but is there anything you can take from that series and kind of look at going into this one, or is it just completely different?
It's completely different. Yeah, it's completely different.
The altitude, how much of a difference does that make? And what do you look for to make sure your guys are feeling fine and doing okay?
Just getting through that first time out. I think altitude does play a role, and just getting through that first time out where you can get your second win and just kind of go from there. But it shouldn't be a big deal.
Aaron Gordon has been a guy that's caused you guys some problems. They also have MPJ with bigger lineups.
Say it again.
I said they also have MPJ who creates some problems with their bigger lineups with Aaron Gordon. How do you begin to prepare for those two? I mean, again, we've seen Aaron Gordon do what he does on the glass against you guys. We've seen MPJ as well, but this is also a new team. I don't think you guys had Kawhi for 3 of those 4 matches. If I'm mistaken. So 4 of them. So.
We have, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you begin to prepare with specifically those 2 matches?
Yeah, we started with that today. Just trying to keep them off the glass. We know in transition, Gordon's running to trying to duck and seal in smaller guys, and we just got to stick with our game plan and go from there. I can't tell you everything, Tony. No, sir.
How much does it help you guys that you have been playing playoff-like games up until the postseason? Like, you guys pretty much needed to win every single one.
Yeah, it's been good. And they've been in the same situation, and so I think, like I said, Adam has come in and done a great job of just handling the pressures of that, getting his team to the 4th seed. And like I said, both teams have been playing playoff games for the last 15, 20 games, and so we're both kind of used to it.
Would you ever talk to Michael Malone?
You said, would I ever?
Would you ever talk to him
What you mean?
during the playoffs? I mean, they just let he has no obligations to Denver. So would you be using him as a resource? Is that something that someone would do?
I mean, it's too close. It's too close to try to, pick somebody's brain who just got fired and just won a championship 2 years ago, and I wouldn't do that. No, out of respect for him, I wouldn't do that.
Having seen James with you guys and with other teams paired with a bunch of different types of guards throughout his career, what makes that pairing with Chris so effective? Like, is it the relief that he can provide defensively? Is it what he does offensively? There's something about the way that they've worked that people are starting to notice.
His defense is important. You have a point of attack defender, so James will have to guard the point guards. And then 2, if teams are pressuring James, we have somebody who can initiate the offense, gets in our sets, and James doesn't have to get wore down throughout the course of the game.
When you get ready for a playoff run, and obviously you've been all the way to the finish line, I know you're focused on your immediate opponent, but does the bigger, larger picture of 4 possible rounds in the playoffs enter into how you handle your lineups,
No.
playing time, and anything like
Just
that?
the first round. That's it.
A couple years ago.
This is the best we've seen Kawhi, in the past 2 or 3 years. Just where's his mental space at, and how confident are you guys knowing that, we got our guy at his peak performance?
Yeah, we're confident. He's in a great mental space, like you said, just going through everything to get to this point where, at the end of the season, he's healthy, and so that's been a while since that happened. And I'm happy for him because he put in the hard work to get to this point. Like I said, along with our medical staff, who has been great, but I'm happy for him.
What about advantages if
I think people try to simplify with Jokić and they say just make him a scorer, don't let his teammates get involved.
I think you gotta give him different coverages. He's too great. He's too great just to give him one simple thing and say, okay, we're gonna let him score. He might get 50 or 60. Okay, we're gonna take away a scoring. He might get 20 assists. I think you gotta do different things throughout the course of the game, not try to let him get comfortable. We've seen probably every defensive team has thrown at him, but just try to keep him off balance the best you can. But you can't give him a steady diet of the same thing.
But is there something to him scoring versus getting his teammates involved versus both in the same game? Like, is there something to keeping it more towards one than the other?
Yeah, for sure. You definitely want to give them both. You can't give him, 40 points and 15 assists. Like, you can't do that because now he's dictating the game. Guys are getting involved as well as him scoring the basketball. So it's hard to do. He's a 3-time MVP for a reason, but we got to do a good job of just trying to take away one of those things. So he's not being aggressive and doing both.